The following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
Yeah!
Go Cowboys!
This is Girls Talk, Boys Talk, presented by Invisalign, trusted by over 500 NFL players for their winning smiles. And broadcasting live from Dallas Cowboys World Headquarters at the Star. Now, your host, Nicole Hutchison.
All right, happy Wednesday, Cowboys Nation. Welcome in to Girls Talk, Boys Talk, presented by Invisalign. We are here in the SWBC studio. Sorry, today has been a day. Nicole Hutchison here, Aisha Morrison, Jess Navarez, and Jazz Monet. How y'all doing, ladies?
It's been a week. We here.
It's been
Good.
a week.
Solid.
It's been a week. It's been a day. It's been a day. Y'all tired?
Huh?
Y'all tired?
Mm-hmm.
Wake up!
Well, geez, I'm
up
awake now. Yeah. I think you woke everybody
What's got
up.
you in such a good mood?
I think it's this nice little coffee out the new machines.
I need some of that.
Caffeine will do that to you.
Yeah.
It's French vanilla coffee. It's actually
I'm
not
with it.
bad. It's not bad.
I think I had too much coffee today.
Really?
Yeah. Like, you know when you start getting jittery? Yeah. And, like, your heart starts racing? That was me earlier. So I think I had a
That
little
definitely
too much.
sounds like too much coffee.
I mean, it was
does.
good. It was good coffee. And it was free. Uh-huh.
We like free. You know what else we like?
Oh, what?
Cowboys wins.
Oh.
We
How
do
long's
like
it been?
those.
Almost a month now?
It's been a month. It's
Yeah.
been quite some time. Let's talk about it. All right. Is there hope for the season? And I'll start with you, Jazz, because you had heard from, obviously, you listening to Mike McCarthy. Everybody did. But there's still some belief. And even in locker room, even though there wasn't many guys in there, it's okay. There's still some belief that they can turn this thing around. Do you think that there should be hope for the season?
It depends on what exactly you're hoping for.
Yeah.
So when I was first looking into this, it was after hearing what Jerry Jones said on Sunday. And he said something along the lines of, you know, I've been here before, and I'm like, well, it didn't always turn out, but okay. And then it was actually Mike McCarthy's quote from Monday where he said, we have a great opportunity to be in an adverse situation as a group of men to do something people don't think we can do. And I'm like, that sounds great. And it would be different if we were still at a place where they were like 3-3, 3-4. But when we're at this point where we're at 3-6, it just kind of made me wonder, what is he thinking about that makes him say things like, oh, we have an opportunity to do something that people don't think we can do. And I'm like, you realize there's a reason people don't think you can do that, right? Mike McCarthy himself, year after year, when people start asking him about playoff seeding and rankings, or standings, I should say, in the division, he always says he doesn't want to talk about it until they hit 10 wins, right? Well, they're 3-6, which means in order to even hit 10 wins, they got to win 7 out of the next 8 games. So my question, as soon as I heard that, was like, okay, what is it that he's thinking about that makes him think that they can win 7 out of the next 8 games? And so we're at a point where, I know you asked about hope, but I would say, question for y'all. Like, would y'all say that there are things that they can do to prepare themselves for the rest of the schedule to win 7 out of 8? Or would winning 7 out of 8 be more like luck? Like, it would take really good luck?
There's a quote, isn't it?
I'll
Like,
let
I'd
Jess
rather be
answer that
lucky than good. Isn't that what it is? I'd rather be lucky than good. Have you guys heard that?
I've heard that. I have heard that.
Yeah, I'd rather be lucky than good, meaning, like, if you're lucky, it's going to turn out better than if you were just good,
Yeah.
right? So
Okay.
I guess for that case, yeah, I'd rather them be lucky than good. But to answer your question, I mean, there has been no sense of consistency in the big things that this team needs to win to tell me that 7 games is in reach.
Exactly. And so that's why, for me, I would say that would rely more on luck than on just, okay, we just got to fix a couple of things, which, if you listen to the rest of that press conference, is essentially what he said. And the thing about luck and opportunity, have y'all heard that saying before? Luck is when blank meets opportunity. Who knows what that blank is?
Wait. Preparation.
Yes.
Let's go.
That was good.
Luck is when preparation meets
giving
opportunity.
Hobby Lobby decor.
So while technically, are they mathematically eliminated out of the running? No. So is the opportunity there? Technically, yeah. The opportunity is literally there for the team to do something that nobody believes they can do. Or I'll put nobody in quotes because I know there are some people who actually do still believe, both in the locker room, I'm sure, and people who I've just come across in conversation. However, it's the preparation that I think people are worried about. When you listen to everything Mike McCarthy said about how he considers the strengths of the quarterback first whenever he's, scheming or doing his play calling, when you hear the coordinators talk about what went well on the defensive side and like, oh, if we could just get the offense to be more complimentary. It's things that sound simple, like, run the ball better, play complimentary football, simple concepts. But for whatever reason, they're things that have stumped the Cowboys. So for me, I would have to see something different in their preparation. I would have to see a whole new team come out for me to even start believing that that opportunity is within reach. So as for Mike McCarthy, hey, he's the head coach. Of course he believes that. I hope he really believes it. I hope that's the message that he's sending to the team. That's like literally his job. However, I hope he understands why there are so many people who don't believe they can do it. And it's not just because, and I think that's also where I get tripped up, because it's like sometimes when you start saying that you don't believe that the Cowboys will go to the playoffs or that they'll do well, people conflate that with a dislike for the team. Like, no, I still like this team. I still got a lot of love for a lot of the players on this team. However, what the evidence, what the patterns have shown us is that the team is not going to get to where they need to be to win 7 out of the next 8 games, especially considering who's on the schedule.
That one was a tough one to beat.
Yeah, that was good.
That was good.
Yeah. Talking about, is there hope left? I want to take a little look at my arm tattoo. It says, "To live for the hope of it all." Yes, that is a Taylor Swift lyric. But but I have a point with this. Like, me, of all people, that has this tattooed forever on my arm, it's always going to be there. I think in order to live for the hope of it all at this point, you have to have realistic standards of what exactly you have in front of you. And to live for the hope of it all is, oh, I have this, so realistically, I can hope that this happens to me. However, when you're looking at this team for what it is right now, I'm talking to this day where things stand, it's just not a good situation. You have Deron Bland, you still don't know when he's going to return. You have Tank Lawrence, who... you're missing his presence, obviously, on and off the field. I mean, he's a missable guy. He's one of those irreplaceable players. You have Micah Parsons, who just came back, but as we know, coming back from injury, you're ramping up. You're not full force until you are, which we don't know how long that could take for Micah and an ankle injury. You have Dak Prescott out. You have your starting quarterback out. If that's not the biggest knock a team can have, and not to say any other player isn't valuable, but it's Dak Prescott. That's your guy. That's your leader. There's just so many circumstances, injuries, coaching, effort, I think some lack of discipline, that just tell me, yeah, you can be hopeful, but realistically, what are you being hopeful for? Because
I'll even add to that list.
If it's a playoff run, let's go back to what Mike said. He wants to do something nobody thinks they can do. You hear that every time this team goes to the playoffs as well. So you can't even just look at this season and be like, we hope to do something nobody thinks we can do. You could say that any time that they've made the playoffs and they have yet to get past the NFC championship hurdle for the last, 20, going on 30 years? So to me, what are you being hopeful for? That's my biggest question. To win? How many games and for what? What end result are you the most hopeful for? Because, yeah, I think at the end of the day, even if you don't win the majority of these games, you can be hopeful for good draft selections, high draft selections. You can be hopeful for what this team is going to look like next year, which likely won't look the same as it does this year. But if you're hopeful to win 7 of the next 8, you can live for the hope of it all, but I don't think that's
building
realistic.
on that point. As far as like what you're hopeful for, it made me think of something that I saw on ESPN. Don't judge me. I was watching ESPN, but
Nobody judge you.
Yeah.
their takes are questionable sometimes. But I was watching ESPN, and it was actually the day after the trade deadline, and they were giving out grades. And when they got to the Cowboys, I think, I forget who it was who was grading the Cowboys, but everybody expected him to give like a D or an F. But he gave the Cowboys an incomplete. And they were like, an incomplete, how does that work? And he was like, well, this is a half turned in homework assignment. And they kind of like made a joke out of it. But then I thought about it and I was like, because they said something about like, oh, so while the Cowboys are going to get held back a grade, so while everybody else is playing the 2025 season, Cowboys are going to be playing 2024 over again. And they were like, ha, ha, ha.
Stop.
But I thought about it, and I was like, true, just like in school where it's like if you're held back a grade, like let's say this year I'm in the 11th grade, and next year all my friends go to 12th, and I'm still in the 11th, like we move forward chronologically, but I'm in the same year. And I feel like when it comes to a lot of the promises that the front office and that the coaching staff made for the 2024 season, yeah, we are looking at 2025. Like in terms of having an offensive line that's going to protect the quarterback, having a run game that they can rely on, even the trade for Jonathan Mingo that they were talking about on ESPN, a lot of people don't even expect that to pay off until 2025. So even the promise of going all in, that's like a 2025 thing. Micah Parsons coming back and seeing what he can do on the field with DeMarvion Overshown, I think gives a lot of people hope for 2025. A lot of these injured players, we won't expect them to be at 100% until 2025. So if there was more certainty that Mike McCarthy would be coming back, I think that would be something fun to, I don't know why I keep naming this. I think that would be something fun to talk about. Like, okay, well, maybe he's laying a foundation for next year. But even that is not necessarily on the table. So all we have to look forward to is this weekend and just taking things 1 week at a time and going from there.
I'm going to let Aisha answer first, then I'm going to ask the question, because we actually talked about that yesterday. Do y'all see if the trajectory of the season continues at the way that it's going, do y'all see Mike McCarthy staying here in Dallas? Hold that thought, because I got Aisha to answer.
Oh, yeah, to answer the question. Yeah, I mean, I don't even know how to like frame this without like. I think we as media, we talk about the sport in a different way of like what's like really going on like within a locker room. When you lose you brought up the point, which is a fantastic point. Once you lose your starting quarterback, there's a reality that sets in this league. And we have seen through the league the last couple of years, especially with the influx of injuries and starting quarterbacks, you've seen the backup quarterback get more opportunity, but that is not the norm. Like, that's not, like, I understand we're kind of getting accustomed to that, but that's not the norm. So with that happening, I just feel like as soon as Dak Prescott went down, there is a reality that sits through that locker room. They are not crazy. They know football. They've been playing it their whole life. They understand there's plays that they can't run. There's things that change when you have a backup quarterback come in. Now, not on top of that, they're dealing with all of the injuries that have happened through the season. I know we're going to get to the injury report for today as well, but you can't take any more hits. It's just, Jess said it, it's just a bad situation this year. So what I think Mike McCarthy is doing, and when you, in reference to hope, Jess, you said something good, like, what are you hopeful for? Because when this type of stuff starts happening in a season, when you are at this point, yes, I believe Mike McCarthy told the guys, they're going to go play the games. You're going to go play the games, and you're going to go have fun. You're going to put good tape out there for yourself, because the reality is that a lot of these coaches are on one-year deals. You can see a lot of changes. Take care of yourself. Also, be preparing for the idea of you maybe not. These guys' agents and stuff, I'm sure are already working. Like, again, we can contextualize and talk about, like, all the other logistics, but it's like, at the end of the day, these are these gentlemen's lives. And they got to go play these games, and they're going to go play these games, and they're going to play inspired football. I'm sure that Mike McCarthy, by saying what he's saying, to your point, Jazz, he is saying what he's supposed to say. He's supposed to speak life into them. But you can't speak, he can speak life into them all he wants to. They see what's going on and the task at hand. So I think they can string together some games. I think that if you're depending on who you are, you're hopeful for, again, putting some good tape out there. If you're a second-year player, you're hopeful to put yourself in position for the next coaching staff or whatever happens to come in there and say, you know what?
I like him.
I might want to keep that guy. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not going to say it becomes an individual thing, but guys do have to look out for themselves when this type of stuff happens. And so I think that, again, they're going to play for each other. They're going to take care of each other. I think they're going to have fun. But I think Mike McCarthy and these guys are having real conversations with them and not sugarfooting around what's really going on and how this season could play out for everyone.
And
so
sometimes, actually, to add to that point, sometimes when you have nothing to lose,
that's why I said they're going to go have fun.
And
they should
sometimes
be able
they
to.
look a little bit better.
And I thought the defense, I think that's something that kind of what we're seeing from the defense, especially with Zimmer. He's like, you know what? I'm gonna keep getting guys back. You know, hopefully you get Marshawn Neal in here soon. Like, listen, he's gonna keep getting guys back. He's gonna keep tinkering around and stuff like that because he's also trying to put himself in a position to come back or not come back. Again, there is some individualism that kind of comes into place, but it doesn't. As long as it doesn't overshadow what's happening, these guys have to do what they need to do for themselves as well.
And to your point, too, like, to the individualism, everybody's acting to their own circumstance, whether they're going to be a free agent next year, which
it's a lot of questions, y'all.
Especially if they are currently injured, i.e. Tank Lawrence, who could pop up on that free agent list, or Zach Martin, who's getting older. Like, you don't know what those guys want to do. Retirement, of course, will always be on the table as a conversation with them. Do they want to try their hand at another team? Do they want to stay? Like, you just don't know what can happen in the offseason. So to your point, Aisha, I mean, if they're injured and they haven't had a chance to put good tape on
they gotta
what
prepare.
They're currently at,
they gotta
have
prepare.
to figure it out.
They're getting with their agents. They're having these conversations. I'm telling you, like, we want, again, they should be locked into what's going on, and I'm sure they're going to be. Like, I don't think that this is going to take away from their effort. I think they're going to come out and play hard against the Texans. I do.
Of course.
But there is to your point, Nicole, I think when you are in a place like this, there is a freedom that you can play with.
It's like a pressure cooker. The top's off, and now it's just
go out
steam
there,
coming out.
have fun, play for your brother.
Yeah.
And let's go get it.
Might be the last time you play with them.
I love how we over here acting like the season is over. It ain't over yet. We still got 8
No.
games.
No, I'm just saying, as far as being...
I love how we're being honest.
we acting
like it's a funeral over
here. As far as
here.
being realistic, temper your reality.
I wasn't trying to get super deep.
No, I loved it.
I don't look at it as looking at the season as being over. I look at it as exactly what they're asking Mike McCarthy. I think we as members of the media and, sometimes fans have to ask ourselves, what are we hopeful for? Because, like, even whenever I'm deciding, like, for my own content, what do I want to cover and what do I want to talk about? Like, I have to think about what I'm hopeful for whenever things start to look bad with the team. So I think, for me, at least, I think thinking about the guys playing for each other and hopefully putting themselves in the best possible situation for the rest of the season and for next year, that is definitely something to look forward to. So not something to sound like, defeatist at all, but it's like, one thing about our brains is, like, even when we try to convince ourselves of something, if we try to convince ourselves of something, and they've proven this, that is, like, too far outside the realm of reality, our brain is just going to throw it out like, why are you lying to yourself? And so I think thinking about the guys still going out and playing hard for whatever reason is something that a lot of us can still look forward to. Now, if they actually do win 7 out of the next 8 games and circumstances somehow align for a great end of the season, I would be the first one to cheer. Please, by all means, prove me wrong. I would love that. But realistically, I think all of us are just like, what's the best that we can hope for this team that we enjoy following? And I'm
excited for
that's a win on Monday. Yes. Right now, that's what you're hopeful for. Yeah. Like you don't look too far ahead at this point. It's week by week, even day by day if you
build
want
off what they did against Philly, maybe get a W, and then have a reason to smile on Monday. And then we'll do it all again for the following Sunday.
And we'll keep finding
7 weeks after that.
We'll keep finding good things within this tape, within this stuff, these young players that are getting an opportunity. Like, that's just we're kind of turning the page. It feels like I'm tired of being depressed.
Yeah. About it. Well, on that note, we're not going to talk Mike McCarthy. We are going to go on to our next segment. We're going to be talking Cowboys. Houston Texans up next in the second segment. All right.
Oh my God.
We'll be back with more Girls Talk, Boys Talk, presented by Invisalign, right back here after the break.
That scared me.
Yeah.
It's the official men's skincare brand of the Dallas Cowboys, Jack Black. And right now, Cowboys fans can get 15% off their $75 order. Plus, because every deal needs a playmaker, your order will include a free 5-piece skincare set and free shipping. The Jack Black Playmaker is 4 of Jack's favorites and a full-sized intense therapy lip balm. Make a play for the Playmaker at getjackblack.com/Cowboys with the code CowboysVIP. That's getjackblack.com/Cowboys with the code CowboysVIP.
We know that juicy, cheesy, grilled to perfection burger sounds amazing, but it does sound like something is missing. Pepsi, baby. The yin to this burger's yang. Burgers and Pepsi go together like burgers and Pepsi. This perfect blending of flavors makes every bite of lettuce, every sesame seed on the bun, and every sip of that crisp, refreshing, ice-cold cola a journey to Foodtopia. Burgers, better with Pepsi. That's what I like.
At Jigsaw Dating, we obviously want the Cowboys to bring that 6th ring home. But to be honest, we're more focused on finding the person who will put a ring on your finger. That's why we created a dating app that reveals your face through meaningful conversation, so you can date deeper. Because it's personality that matters the most, not looks. Join Jigsaw Dating today, dating partner of the Dallas Cowboys.
The Dickey family always mandated that the only Polish-style sausage worthy of their restaurant must have high-quality coarse ground beef and pork, rich spices, and fresh natural casings. We still serve it to this day, and it's so popular, Dickey's sausage has been named the official sausage of the Dallas Cowboys. The perfect matchup on game day. Dickey's Barbecue Pit. No one outsmokes us. Order at dickeys.com. For groups, call 866-BARBECUE.
Dibs on the ribs.
Nation, it's time to get the giving season going. Tune in to see country music superstars Lainey Wilson and a special guest performance during the Salvation Army's annual Red Kettle Kickoff halftime show this Thanksgiving on Fox. Every donation stays in the community to provide help and hope for those in need. So tune in to watch the Cowboys, Giants, and Lainey Wilson this Thanksgiving and give today at salvationarmyusa.org.
What song she sing?
I'm going to be really honest with you. That's the one artist I don't really listen to. I know.
She's popular. I just don't know. I've heard people.
Yeah,
I've seen
she's
people
one of the top country artists right now.
When they announced it, I saw people being like, Lainey! And I was like,
she dresses really cute.
I need to hear
I know that. I know, I really don't listen to her, but I know she, her style.
She probably got something familiar
really
that we know.
Yeah, I'm sure if we, put something on shuffle, we can figure it out.
Probably. But we're going to hear her on Thanksgiving anyway.
I feel like I disappointed the fans there that always look at me for the country music. Yeehaw.
Yeah.
I don't have it today.
I thought you was going to know.
I know.
I'm not even going to pretend I listen to country music like that.
Yeah.
There's a couple of stars that I know of, but she ain't one of them, so.
Hey, that country song with,
oh, God.
with Lil Durk and,
Which one? I like Heather
Broadway
Headley.
Girls. It's a good song.
Which one?
Broadway Girls.
Oh, yes.
It's a great song.
Okay.
That's the only country song I know.
My bad. I did not mean to send y'all off on this tangent.
I'm just going to say.
It's fine.
Y'all know.
Of course I did.
Y'all know.
Of course I sent you on a tangent.
It's all right. It's gonna
Texans.
be fun. Wow.
Yeehaw.
Texans. Woo.
It is a yeehaw.
It's a battle.
Yeehaw.
Oh, my God.
Yeehaw?
Yeehaw.
Is that like a cross between yeehaw and
Wow.
Yeehaw.
Don't we have a little yeehaw button in the back?
Do we have
Jazzy?
one, Jazz?
I think somebody says yeehaw.
Jazz. Hey, girl. Can we get a yeehaw?
She's going to get you.
She's going to get me. Oh, man.
She's
It's
gonna-
the
Yes,
coffee.
Nicole. Yes.
Do you have a yeehaw?
Do I have a yeehaw?
Mm-hmm.
I got an Isaiah yeehaw.
Do it.
Ooh.
1 second.
Yes.
This is an iPad.
He does a yeehaw.
It sound like
He does.
yeehaw.
Yes,
Like
Isaiah
that.
has a
Watch.
yeehaw.
Yes.
All right, hold on. I can't read.
Chris has played it before.
That's why I say it like that.
Really? I've never heard
Yeah.
it.
Yeehaw!
Yeehaw.
That is so Isaiah-like.
I love
Oh my
it.
gosh.
It's
All right.
fantastic.
Houston, Texas, come to town.
Yeehaw.
H-Town. Hold it down. All right.
Oh, Lord.
All right. Last week, the Texans, unfortunately, not unfortunately, because we don't care about them. The Texans take the loss. I'm sorry. The Texans take the loss to the Lions in Week 10. It was brutal too because they blew like a 14-point lead. That was ugly.
It was wild.
And the Lions was just giving the ball to them.
Just give it away. Here you
Five
go.
turnovers, and they came back from a double-digit.
Take it.
They came
Take
back
it
from
again.
a double-digit
Here,
deficit,
take
so we
that
know
too.
it's possible.
Yeah, it's possible.
Take that
Against the
too.
Texans, it's possible.
That was
You
me
just
being
give
the
it away.
Lions.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
I was
They've now
impersonating
lost
the
back-to-back
Lions.
losses, but was that loss against the Lions and their previous loss the true identity of the Texans?
I think they're still trying to figure out the true identity because C.J. Stroud is in his sophomore season, and the sophomore slump is a word that I think is technically a myth that is used to describe what happens when a player, usually a quarterback, comes onto the scene, guns blazing, and then the following year everybody has like a target on that particular player.
Yeah.
So because he's shown so much of what he can do, you've got people who are looking for ways to trip him up. And so they're preparing for him a lot differently than they did last year. And so I think what we're seeing is the Texans are a good team. We know that. They've got a coach. They've got a good coach. They've got a good quarterback. However, they're not infallible. Yeah. And so I think C.J. Stroud is still learning how defenses will prepare against him and the things that will trip him up when a really good defensive coordinator actually makes it a point to trip him up, as opposed to just looking at their offense as a whole because he's still kind of a question mark. And I think that's an important part of a quarterback's development. And as he navigates that, I think we'll see more of who the true Texans are going to be. So if we have to say yes or no, I'd say yes, just because that's who they are right now. Considering who their offense is being led by, that's what they're dealing with right now. Now, that's not to say they might not figure out something by the time we see them. They might look different, or definitely by the end of the season, right? But yes, it's who they are right now, but it's not to say that they're just going to keep getting worse, keep making mistakes, or that C.J. Stroud isn't actually good. He's just a young quarterback who's still learning and growing.
I like that. Jess?
You know what's funny is here in Cowboys world, all you hear about is wanting a consistent run game and favorable play calling that exposes that. What's so funny is that the Texans, it almost feels like their play calling revolves a little too much around Joe Mixon, and that trips him up a little bit. So it's like, careful what you wish for, guys, because it's not always great. But to answer your question and to write off of what Jazz said, I really don't think they know who they are just yet. They had 4 straight games under 24 points. They average about 22 points per game, which, yeah, over here you're like, oh, what a problem. But genuinely, their biggest issue is they can't play 4 quarters of consistent football. And so that's also something that you look at over here with the Cowboys side. We talked about a lot, how that loses you games, and you can't just rely on your kicker to win you games all the time, because guess who deals with that as well? The Texans. And so for me, I think they need more of a steady offensive play caller that's gonna do more than just kind of circle everything around what Mixon's doing.
I like that.
Yeah, my bad. I would say, I think they're a lot of the same team they were last year. They're just, to Jazz's point, this is year 2 with C.J. Stroud also, too. You talk about the offensive scheme in general. Bobby Slowick does a good job down there. Very urbanized way of running an offense, as we know. But obviously, yes, people catch up. People figure out some of the things you schematically like to do. I, however, think a lot of the Houston Texans' problems and the issues that they're having, they fall within this offensive line. Like, this offensive line is played so poorly. That plays into we talk. Come on, like we talk about this with Dak Prescott. We've talked about this on the other side of the fence. When your quarterback feels sped up, if he feels like he's not seeing what he thinks he sees. Also, too, you're dealing with Nico Collins being out. Sounds like he might be coming back this week, which would be a huge boost for their offense because of how he opens up that offense, because he is their deep threat. He is that person. And because of his body control, CJ doesn't have to be always super duper accurate. He can make things work. And then you go into Stephon Diggs being out as well. I'm sure they had plans for him. And you've seen Tank Dell kind of hold it down the best that he can. But Dalton Schultz and Tank Dell on the receiving side are where they're making their money. And again, CeeDee Lamb we know that we've seen what is going on. It just looks different because you're in Dallas. But so to answer your question, I think they've had some unfortunate injuries along the offensive line. And also, too, because I think they lost Keon Green, who is their guard. He's one of their guards. He is on IR now. So They've been shuffling some guys on that offensive line, and it just hasn't been good this year. Stroud's been running for his life every chance he got.
You had said it looks different because we're in Dallas. I think it also looks different because they're winning ball games.
Right. They're still
They're
winning
finding
games.
a way to win.
They're still finding ways to win ball games, and that's
Yes.
credit to that defense who is giving this their offense opportunities. I guess we can say the same thing about us, too.
Right, but they also have a consistent run game, which is something that on this side we've been saying could actually really benefit the offense and not have to put you in like second and long, third and long passing situations.
And you look at what even their offensive line being weak. I mean, you have a guy like Joe Mixon, and I'm not saying that any of our running backs don't do the same.
Right.
I'm just speaking on the behalf of what Joe Mixon does well, and he still creates. I mean, and that's
He makes guys miss.
He makes guys miss. I mean, like, you look at this offensive line, and they're going, I don't know how to explain it, but they're going this way, and that's not how you're supposed to go. You're supposed to go to the second level, and they are literally collapsing, and he's just finding ways to create run lanes on his own. So I think that also helps the success of this offense.
And that makes a huge difference, having a running back who can create. But even for a running back to get good at that, I feel like takes consistency in their usage and getting reps, which that's been inconsistent for our running backs this season.
Yeah,
I agree. I agree. I would think that as Rico continues to get more time, like he will be able to do some of those things and break away. Now he doesn't have a whole bunch of breakaway speed. That ain't Rico's game. Joe got him there. He can accelerate a little bit better. So
he
that's
can create though.
No. He can create. We've seen him make guys miss. Even some of his cutback decisions that he's made as of late were good. But this
their offensive line ugly. I'm not gonna lie to you.
this offensive line, and this is the side that, and it's so hard because you start looking at these matchups, you're like, oh, you can line up Michael over here, you can line him up on the A gap, you can do this, and then you start thinking about what the offense is gonna do. But we're gonna do that tomorrow. This offensive line for the Texans has had some trouble. Their tackles are really having a hard time as well. Larry Tunsil is playing well because he's that guy, and he's one of the best left tackles in football. But the interior of that offensive line and Jared Patterson and sorry, did I erase it? Barnacles.
Mason,
Yes, with Shaq Mason and Jared Patterson. Mercy, y'all. I think the Cowboys will be able to take defensively will be able to take advantage of some of the things they did last week. Actually, Zimmer did some shifts at the last minute, kind of confused some of those offensive linemen last week for the Eagles. Maybe come on some stunts, stuff like that, double A gaps. Obviously, those things. Be able to get some pressure on C.J. Stroud, but C.J. Stroud is weird in a sense because y'all talking about it's weird.
That he's weird.
It's not weird, but I find it's not weird. It's not football
Tell us
weird.
what it is. Maybe it is weird.
Like,
Go for it.
It is kind of
know
weird.
it's weird.
But it's the fact that you talk about how teams are playing him differently. C.J. Stroud, and this is something I think teams did to Dak too. He killed people against the blitz last year. He shredded people. This year, he's still good against the blitz, but he's struggling when people aren't blitzing him.
Well, you're right. That is definitely something that happened to Dak. But it's because Dak, and I'm assuming this is the same for C.J. Stroud, because I'm trying to imagine how many different ways you could look at the situation. But Dak, one, a lot of times, especially last season, he felt more protected. And two, he trusts himself to get out of harm's way. So he could just focus on his targets downfield. So if they weren't as covered, or if they were able to get open, which they did a lot better last season as well, he just focused on that, picked a target, went for it, and so whoever was blitzing him wasn't as much of an issue. But when your pocket is disintegrating, when you're not as protected, the blitz is a little bit more scary. So you do worry a little bit more. And also with Nico being out, just looking at the numbers, it seems like he hasn't done as well against the blitz, especially when Nico is out. So that's like an issue over the past however long as well. But I think that's what it is. I think it's just that they're focusing on their targets, and so if people are blitzing them, that's less people covering their targets, so they just go for it.
There's less targets too.
CJ also does not do well with window dressing, and the linebackers here can have fun with that. I mean, when you have a Demo, which I don't know if we have the injury report yet. I don't know. If we have that, that'd be great. But let's pretend we have a Demo. You have Micah, who, like we talked about, is just, going to get better and better every week as he comes back from that ankle injury. But ultimately, this is a game the linebackers and even the safeties can have a little bit of fun with. Something that I was listening to, just kind of poking around as I do with the opposing team's fan base and kind of seeing what their world is saying. What they're thinking CJ is going to do is try to really, really attack your safety position, because it is noticeably one of the weaker spots, if not the weakest spot on your defense, specifically with Donovan Wilson. Like, the fact that I heard so much Dono disrespect on that side, it's saddening considering what we've seen him do before. So I'm really hoping, and selfishly, maybe this is a little homer of me, but I'm really hoping Dono shuts them up this week, because they are counting on Donovan to kind of hesitate a little bit more and then make and miss, essentially. Another important factor of all of this game is the hidden yardage that's going to come after catch, after pass, after run, whatever the case is. All of that yak after run, after catch, whatever the case is, it's going to count up in this game, and it's going to be important, because if you get this Texans offense behind the sticks, that's when they play their worst ball. And if you keep getting CJ over and over and over, keep putting him back, they have a really hard time recovering from second and third downs that are longer.
It's weird, too, because they do a lot of stuff behind I was looking at the numbers of when he passes behind the line of scrimmage, or when they're trying to do things out the backfield, or when they're trying to do, like, flat stuff. And, man, like, that's his worst throw. And that's weird to me. Like, and I'm assuming it's because of the offensive line, because I'm watching him. His mechanics look right, but his, like, anything that's out here, which is not easy to do, because they got to gain the torque, they got to turn, like it's not easy to do. But it's just interesting to me. I think that to your point, I think DeMarvion Overshown and those young linebackers, those guys will be able to come downhill if they decide to go east to west. I think they decide to go. If they decide to go this way.
One of the things that might help Dono, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, because I didn't exactly look at stats on this. It just kind of felt like he was in the box more. Was that happening?
It was a little more noticeable, yeah.
So I'm just like, maybe if that trend continues, that'll help him out a little bit, because he just seems to do better from there.
Yep.
He's always been better closer to the line of scrimmage. But he'll have the opportunity.
All right, we're going to take our second break.
Oh, here we go.
Talking more Cowboys, Texans matchup. And some weaknesses of Joe Mixon, if he has any. I don't know. Does he? Does he not? We'll find out. Stick with us right here on Girls Talk, Boys Talk, presented by Invisalign.
The Dickey family always mandated that the only Polish-style sausage worthy of their restaurant must have high-quality coarse ground beef and pork, rich spices, and fresh natural casings. We still serve it to this day, and it's so popular, Dickey's sausage has been named the official sausage of the Dallas Cowboys. The perfect matchup on game day. Dickey's Barbecue Pit. No one outsmokes us. Order at dickeys.com. For groups, call 866-BARBECUE.
Dibs on the ribs.
We know that juicy, cheesy, grilled to perfection burger sounds amazing, but it does sound like something is missing. Pepsi, baby. The yin to this burger's yang. Burgers and Pepsi go together like burgers and Pepsi. This perfect blending of flavors makes every bite of lettuce, every sesame seed on the bun, and every sip of that crisp, refreshing, ice-cold cola a journey to Foodtopia. Burgers, better with Pepsi. That's what I like.
At Jigsaw Dating, we obviously want the Cowboys to bring that sixth ring home. But to be honest, we're more focused on finding the person who will put a ring on your finger. That's why we created a dating app that reveals your face through meaningful conversation, so you can date deeper. Because it's personality that matters the most, not looks. Join Jigsaw Dating today, dating partner of the Dallas Cowboys.
It's the official men's skincare brand of the Dallas Cowboys, Jack Black. And right now, Cowboys fans can get 15% off their $75 order. Plus, because every deal needs a playmaker, your order will include a free 5-piece skincare set and free shipping. The Jack Black Playmaker is 4 of Jack's favorites and a full-sized intense therapy lip balm. Make a play for the playmaker at getjackblack.com/Cowboys with the code CowboysVIP. That's getjackblack.com/Cowboys with the code CowboysVIP.
The most electrifying event of the holiday season is here. Cowboys Christmas Extravaganza, powered by Reliant, is back at the Star in Frisco. Join us every Friday and Saturday night from November 22nd through December 21st for a spectacular show with the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders, Rhythm and Blues, Rowdy, Santa Claus, and a surprise tree lighting appearance from your favorite Cowboys heroes. Best of all, the show is free. For details, visit thestardistrict.com. Don't miss out on the holiday magic. If y'all get on me for almost calling Rowdy Howdy, I'm gonna scream. I almost said Howdy instead of Rowdy. My bad.
It's okay.
Yeehaw.
I was thinking about something.
What was you thinking about?
I was thinking about the fact that you said that they was talking about attacking the Cowboys safeties. Which, depending on what
They're
decide
doing a lot
to
of
do.
yapping.
Well, I was just thinking because like most of his interceptions have come from the deep third of the field, so it's like, dang, where you've been being intercepted at, you think that the Cowboys are terrible at? I was just thinking that
Just
like
a lot of yapping.
this is some mixed shade if that is
Yeah.
the case, and we know
It is a lot of mixed
CJ
shade.
Stroud, sweet kid. God-fearing, so open about his relationship with Christ.
Absolutely.
It's very great to see, but that man's a competitor. Y'all be hearing him talk to y'all. Y'all don't be hearing him?
Yeah.
Oh, he don't play no games. None.
Don't play no games over
Well,
here.
technically he plays games, just not those games.
But yeah, so we talking about Joe
Joe
Thank you.
Mixon. All right.
You're gonna mix in.
He's
in.
a
That one was really bad. That one was really bad.
that was actually not bad. That wasn't
No,
that
that was
bad.
really bad.
All right.
That's not my best work.
He's a dog. But is there a weakness in the way that he runs? And what I mean by that is, do you see a strength of him running up the middle, maybe on the outside, attacking the edges? Do you feel like there's a weakness with the way that he runs, where maybe the Cowboys could take a little bit of an advantage? Nope.
No, not. No, I mean, I ain't going that far. He's a running back. I do think that there are times where he gets. The fact that you brought up is that he creates, he finds. There are times that that play's not there, and you gotta let it go. That's probably one of the only things that I can say. I can say that maybe his balance isn't the best when he's like taking on a lot of contact. You'll see him in the third quarter. He's not. Joe Mixon's a big guy, but he's not like the stealthiest guy. How much does he weigh? When I was looking at him on tape, I was sitting up there like, I thought he was gonna be bigger.
Do you feel like that's kind of why the wheels fall off for the Texans? They don't seem like a second half team.
Well,
And
they're using the run a lot right now because of what's going on with their offense right now, like with their passing game right now.
Yeah.
So it's understandable. And just like the Cowboys, Dalton Schultz, he's struggling with that block. But he's on blocking duty. Like they're not having the same opportunities to get him involved and stuff like that too now, of course.
Yeah,
he's gonna get some
you already know.
opportunities
You already
this
know. Yeah.
But yeah, that to me that would be maybe the only thing that I could think of is sometimes his contact balance initially isn't that great, but other than that, yeah, I'm about to look at his height and weight. I can't remember.
To your point, just real quick, the play calling really does depend on him creating plays a lot of the time, and you can't always do that. To your point, Aisha. So, I mean, that's not really a fault of his, but
he's 6'1". Yeah. How much you weigh?
My response of no was related to your full question.
220.
Does he have a weakness that the Cowboys can take advantage of? Everybody has a weakness, but something that I expect the Cowboys to take advantage of, no. I think they'll handle him pretty much like they've handled other running backs, which means they might limit his yardage by a little bit. But ultimately, when it comes to attacking weaknesses, that's not where I expect them to be. I expect this to be a fun day for Micah. I expect this to be a fun day for Demo. I even expect it to be a fun day for Osa. Just, doing whatever they're going to do to the offensive line, pressuring CJ Stroud and seeing what mistakes he might make. But I don't think that they're going to completely change Joe Mixon. I think they might be able to influence some of the circumstances where he's running. But yeah, I think he's still going to get his yards.
I also want to point out, I know this has nothing to do with the running back situation, but I'm skimming through my notes, and I wanted to make sure to say it today, was going forward, I was looking at the Texans schedule. They have the Cowboys, the Titans, the Jags. Okay. 3 teams they can beat if they play full quarters of football, which they haven't yet, but could be the week. You never know. And here's the thing about that is they're not out of the running. They've been playing winning ball, to your point, Nicole. And eventually, guess who they have to meet up with? The undefeated Kansas City Chiefs. So they're going to want to get a winning start ahead of that game, because if they start letting the wheels fall off now, you can't rely on that comeback against the Chiefs, especially right now. So
Tank Dell. No, y'all laughing, but Tank Dell.
It was that for me.
Tank Dell. No, Tank Dell is one of my favorite players. One of my favorite players. One of the first players I ever watched when I started the draft show. I watched him one time at the Senior Bowl, and I thought he was the best receiver in that draft, hands down. Zay Flowers. It was a little draft. All those guys were not big receivers, but I will say his usage is going to be interesting. I wonder if we see a Jordan Lewis man him or have to step up and defend him in this game. He does some things in the slot. He can do some things on the outside. And he's shifty. I think you mentioned the run after catch ability. This guy has yards after catch ability as well with the ball in his hands. So I am actually excited to see Tank Dell versus possibly Jordan Lewis or Trayvon Diggs. Hopefully not Trayvon Diggs.
Stop.
I don't think he can run with him.
Yeah.
Don't start.
I don't want
Don't do
Jordan
that.
Lewis.
Not today.
Yep. Not Kalen Carson.
Yeah. Not Kalen.
Not this week.
All right, this has been fun, guys.
Joyous.
We'll be back tomorrow
Are we done?
with more. I know, right? It's already 4:47. That's
nuts.
That's crazy. On the dot. All right, it's time to go. It has been great. Aisha Morrison, Jess Navarez, Jazz Monet, Nicole Hutchison. We'll see y'all back here tomorrow at 4 p.m.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys? Yeah!